What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger, along with my main man over here, my silent partner, the Alexis Arguello puppet,
who got a lot of love in Verona last night. I'm your other host, Frank Benjis, back with another episode. Yo, he was on there mad times on that video.
Yeah, that nice little compilation thing to get the people hyped up for the
that
main
was
event.
cool.
Yeah, Alexis Arguello, man. You were a force last night. You
delivered a lot of moments, my friend.
Yeah. A few you were on the a few of them you were on the receiving end of a beatdown though in the Aaron Pryor video. Don't bring up Aaron Pryor around him. Don't bring up Aaron Pryor. That's a sore spot with El Flaco Explosivo. But yeah, as of this recording, it is March 3rd. Last night, March 2nd, Saturday night, we were at the Turning Stone Resort Casino in Verona, New York, watching some of our favorite fighters. Lots of great people on the card. Lots of great people in the crowd. Congratulations, Camden, New Jersey. Hold on. Congratulations to Camden, New Jersey's Raymond Savage Ford, who is now your WBA featherweight champion with a big, surprising 12th round stoppage of Odebek Kolmatov. 7 seconds left in round 12, man. And as I always say, man, New Jersey just the Northeast in general builds them tough. No doubt about that.
Star-studded crowd, though. Shoe in the crowd. Abraham Nova popped out. You were bumping gums with Flavor Flav over there.
Yeah, Flavor Flav was out to show support for Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of Muhammad Ali.
Big, tall, monstrous Eddie Hearn was from Big Old Matchroom was in the crowd.
Yeah, it was a big, exciting night. And congratulations to the other winners. Congratulations to Bomax, incredible coaching team, man. Troy Isley got a huge victory last night. We'll go into that more. Our guest is here now. But it was a great night at the Turning Stone Resort Casino last night. A lot of great fights. I'm sure we'll talk about this more, but right now we have a guest. We got pressing business.
Yep.
We got pressing business, and it's RYSZARD LEWICKI. How you doing, my man?
I'm great, thank you. How are you, bud?
Good. First of all, man, I got to ask you, man, and you just had a fight a couple of weeks ago. Who the hell is this goddamn guy that we can't beat? Another draw with this guy?
I mean, have you watched the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, it's on YouTube, so I advise anybody on this channel watching this interview, watch this fight. You know, you can win every single round and they give you a draw. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You'd be generous, really generous to give him a single round.
Do you find that it's almost like more annoying to come up with a draw rather than a loss? Because I almost think personally I'd rather lose than tie. Like,
do you know what? Honestly, the first time I boxed him last year, I mean, everybody was convinced I won anyway. But it was a very, very tough fight.
Right.
I bossed it the first part of the fight. Then it became close. And for whatever reason, they gave us a very controversial draw, which fine, whatever, right? But then I had him on my mind for 6-7 months. And then I was so prepared for this rematch. And like I say, anybody watching this, watch the fight on YouTube. You know, there's blood everywhere. The guy gets absolutely schooled. He gets done in. And then they still call it a draw. So it's just like so frustrating. You just want truth. You just want what you worked for. Financially as well. Not many people know this, but in the UK, boxing kind of works. Unless you're on TV, you have to cover the costs of your opponent, which is absolutely mind-blowing to people when I tell them this. So that means you have to pay enough. You have to sell enough tickets, to pay your opponent's wage. That's before you even make a single penny.
That's crazy.
I took this fight last minute, right? So I had to pay 1,500 British sterling pounds just to fight, just to get done over in the main event. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Mind-blowing. It's
wow.
Honestly,
a shocker, dirty pool in boxing. Wow.
That's some new stuff for Off the Couch Boxing crowd, though. I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
No.
Honestly, it's insane. So, you consider all those things. And then the fact that, I've been boxing for 17 years, so I know what I'm talking about. I've
Right.
had in the amateurs, so going up to the Olympics, I think I had 128, won over 100, won like 3 national titles, went on to internationals, won, I think, 5 golds internationally, and then ended on the Olympic qualifier in London for Tokyo, that was. And that's only because of COVID. So I was like, turn
Yeah.
professional. And it's
Yeah.
just been politics. You just want to fight everybody, get the right results, or like a just one. If I lose, I lose. It's not a problem. If I get beat by a better man. But it's like you've got all these undefeated fighters, right? Which is mind blowing again. So I'm not going to name any names, but I had several fights lined up, all agreed, everything done, hotels booked, and then I get told that they've done some research and no longer fancy it.
Is it because of the ties, you think, or the draws?
Well, no. If anything, I'm kind of hoping. I mean, just trying to draw any form of positive from a really disappointing situation.
Yeah.
I'm hoping because of the ties that I'll actually get some opportunities now. They maybe fancy it because honestly, beforehand, it's just frustrating. I can't get fights against these so-called undefeated fighters. They just don't fancy it because the risk is too high.
Yeah.
Right. So
Now,
you're on off the couch boxing kid calling duck. Basically, you saying they're over here playing duck duck goose?
Yeah.
Honestly, how can you be the best barber in town if you're the only barber?
Right. That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You lose. It's kind of like you win by de facto.
you're just fighting tomato cans.
Right.
You're not
Right.
fighting real fighters. And then when the fights get made, they have done some research and no longer fancy it. Like, come on.
Yeah. Now you were born in Poland. How does a guy like you end up in boxing? Were you getting in a lot of fights when you were young?
To be honest, not really. I was always a super energetic kid. Obviously, like I've done I've got degrees and stuff, so I don't need to really box. I could have a career somewhere else,
Right.
but it's just who I am. And I had my first fight when I was 10, so I've not really had any form of, I've been in that discipline circle from a very young age, so I've not really been in trouble outside of it, at least when it comes to fighting, because I found my fair share growing up of trouble.
Now, obviously, man, like it's you've spoken quite publicly about it, but not one, but both of your parents committed suicide.
Yeah.
That's
So
gonna weigh pretty heavy. Like, how are you able to push through that, and how has it affected your boxing career in a positive or a negative way?
Well, that time period was tough. It was a really rough patch because obviously one of my mum passed away, and then my dad passed away very soon after, and then
Awful.
a lot of things happened in my private life at the time as well, where it was kind of like the whole world was just spun 360.
Were you older when this happened, or were you young?
No, this happened not last year, but maybe a year and a half ago.
And there was no, and how much time was there between each parent passing away?
About 2 or 3 months.
Oh God, I feel for you, man. My heart goes
I mean,
out to you. That's rough.
It's hard to talk about, really, but it was my dad's birthday, and if I'm honest, I think he just drank himself to death, basically, on his own birthday. But yeah, it was a life-changing thing. I can't really explain to anybody unless you've been there and seen it how difficult that becomes.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. It gave me a lot of, I don't know, when you're kind of on a borderline, right? Do you give up or make something of yourself, kind of thing? That's what I was facing at the time. And obviously, weeks upon weeks, you're just suffering and, you're going through all the emotions and everything. But eventually, I got to a point where I had to I came to an ultimatum, if that makes sense, where I was like, right, I either make something of myself, like properly, like just level up across the entire board and give myself a life that they would have been proud of, or, you know, give up, just stop bloody crying and being, you know, and yeah, honestly, I took every help I could find. I leveled up. I started learning new languages, new skills. Did everything I could. My communication kind of improved exponentially, because beforehand I was just this introverted, quiet. Well, not introverted, quiet, but when it came to emotions, anyway, I was just all closed in and completely changed. And yeah, my life is so much better now than it was back then. I'm in Manchester now, so I moved here for a little while. I was literally living in my boxing gym.
Wow.
Because I kept all my stuff in Sheffield, where it's about 2 hours away, at my sister's place. And then because I wanted to train and I got a new job and stuff, so I was literally sleeping in the boxing gym, training at 4:30 in the morning, then going off to work, then doing my runs and stuff in the evening before going to sleep. But yeah.
So when RYSZARD says he's in the gym 24/7, he really means he's in the gym 24/7.
Yeah, when I tell you it's cold,
literally
on a blow-up bed in a boxing gym, trust me, it's cold.
Yeah. That's about as real as it gets right there. And when you got into boxing, did you have any idols? Did you have guys that you looked up to in the sport?
You know, this is going to sound ridiculous again, but I've boxed, like I said previously, since 10, right?
Yeah.
And I was so fixated on professional boxing, watching Roy Jones Jr., you know, Mike Tyson, all the showboating, all the glam and stuff. I was so fixated on that stuff. That was boxing for me, right? That I had no idea about anything in the Olympic boxing. So when I got to 16, and I still remember this conversation, it's kind of embarrassing, but I was talking to my first ever coach, who I'd been with at I think ultimately like 13 years. He's a great mentor, but he started talking to me about the Olympics. Now, I have no idea how a 16-year-old can be oblivious to the existence of Olympics. But he goes, oh, you know, Olympics. And I go, what's that? He goes, you don't know, like, you're joking, right? And I was like, no, is it better or worse than the World Championships? And he goes, well, it's once every 4 years, so it's better. Yeah.
It's a prestigious honor. Yeah.
Yeah, but I stayed in amateur boxing for, well, potentially too long, but I wanted to get that pedigree, you know, so that when I become a professional, I've got all the schooling that I need, you know, to kind of be at a stage I want to be, because I don't want to just participate, you know. I never wanted to just be a part of something, which obviously then brings us back to last week or 2 weeks ago, getting a draw. It's like,
I know, frustrating. You know? Yeah, I always wondered how that weighs on the psyche of a boxer too, because you know you are really measured on. You know, you hear growing up, oh, you tried hard. You know, you win some, you lose some. But in boxing, though, it really does matter. In baseball, you play 162 games. In basketball, you play 82 games. But each fight is big. You know what I mean?
And also, it's only you.
Record. Huh?
Yeah, it's also only you.
Yeah,
There's no team. You can't say, "Oh, he did this," or
Do you know what I find insane about boxing? It's so unforgiving. You know, you have a football team or hockey team or anything, right? They might play and lose, and they are garbage or whatever, right? But they play again next week, win, top of the world.
Yeah.
You see, and then you've got boxing. You could win everything. You could be the world champion, beat everybody. You lose one fight and you're absolute trash.
Yeah.
You know, you're garbage, thrown in the bin. It's insane. It just doesn't make sense.
We just saw that happen to Shakur Stevenson, and he won that fight against De Los Santos, but he looked so bad, and there was so little action that it's really been kind of a black eye on his career. You know, I mean,
it's crazy. Look at Deontay Wilder.
Yeah,
you know, he loses one fight, and he's shot. He's done. He's all this and that. It's just like.
I feel like the Gypsy King though really got in his head during those 3 fights though, and really just, you know, I think Deontay's problem was he was coasting along and just thought that right hand was like a get out of jail free card all the time, and it would always be there for him. And then once he stepped up in competition and it wasn't so easy anymore, I think he got a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, you know, taking names out not looking at Deontay Wilder as Deontay Wilder. So you're not kind of favoritizing him. If you look at his resume over the years, I don't want to say it's not impressive, because if you can knock out any professional boxer, it is impressive. Some of these men know how to survive and all that, and he was great at finding that shot. But if you're going to compare him to the best fighters out there, his resume is shocking.
Yeah.
They're comparing him to Mike Tyson, and fair enough, he's got that, boom, shot. But you can't compare, because if he fought 10 Tyson Furies, he'd lose 10 times, or maybe he'd win once by luck, by landing that right hand. So I don't know. There's fighters out there with a lot more impressive resumes, but they may have taken losses over the years. But I still find that more impressive, because they're willing to take the risks.
Yeah.
I want to go like a way different way and ask you something, just because you were talking about you live in Manchester now. I'm a big soccer. I mean, it's soccer here, football. I'm a big soccer fan. And I just have you ever been to like a Manchester United, Manchester City game, something like that?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, the first ever game that I went to, I was 16, and we managed to go to see Manchester United at Old Trafford. Imagine that being your first ever pro football game that you go to.
Yeah.
So, our teacher at the time was an ex-semi-pro footballer, and any excuse he got, it was football, right? We could do football for a lesson or this. We had an assignment where we had to do some sports performance analysis, and he was like, yeah, great excuse to get all the kids, to Old Trafford.
Cool teacher.
We got to watch a game, and it was my first ever game. So, yeah, great experience for that.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things, like you go to like a game, I've been to an NBA game. I've seen the Charlotte Hornets play. I've been to an MLB game. I've seen some professional baseball, but like Old Trafford, like what you're talking about, like it's like 100,000 people. Like that's like some like huge venue. I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's different. That's a whole different energy. It
and
really is.
The energy in there is like nothing you see energy in a basketball arena or something, but like that. Nothing can beat it, dude.
Different. Yeah, honestly, it does get different.
Last week we went to see Rochdale play. They're like a fifth tier kind of football team.
The last game I watched was the Carabao Cup.
All right, cool. Yeah.
And that was a good game, though.
There. Yeah. Do you know what? They don't usually play the best, I would say. But in that game, they scored 3 goals in the first half. The atmosphere was mad. Yeah, drums going off and all the chants and stuff. Love it.
That's what makes me want to know. Like I watch it from the United States, and I just see it like it's so intriguing.
Do you know what? That's why I love boxing. If somebody has like a great crowd behind them. Personally, obviously, when I box, I can't really hear any of that. I can only enjoy it before and after the fight.
That's interesting. You kind of tune it out.
You honestly, it's so weird, and the lighting as well. I don't know if you've ever paid attention, but it's always bright in the ring and dark around it, right? So when you're outside of the ring looking in, you can see everything, but when you're in the ring, you can't even see the crowd. It's crazy.
So I just experienced my first live boxing last night for a Top Rank. We were out there in Verona, New York, and saw that Raymond Ford.
Oh, that would Was that stoppage 12th round?
Yeah, and
so I actually know what you're saying though. Like I just get that now. And I wouldn't known it until yesterday.
And I'll tell you what, the roof blew off that place because Raymond Ford stopped Kolmatov in a fight that I had him losing, and I think a lot of other people on press row, because we were there covering it for our podcast. 7 seconds left in the 12th round.
Yeah, I saw the scorecards today. He was officially down, or he would have lost.
Yeah, he would have.
2 minutes 53 seconds.
Crazy. I know.
That crowd went bananas over there.
Yeah, they sure did. Yeah.
Eddie Hearn jumped out of his chair. He flew.
He was there. Yeah, he was there actually right in front of us. He's a tall bastard. I mean, I kind of hated when he was standing up.
Yeah, he kept standing up, shouting to Ray, "Hey, hit him with the body."
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I think they signed Raymond, so I think he's with Matchroom now. But
he is with Matchroom.
So, how active would you like to be in 2024? Like, what's your plans and your goals going forward for this year?
Honestly, last week for about 2 days, and this is true from the bottom of my heart, I was done with boxing for 2 days.
Yeah,
I was so devastated. I was so heartbroken. I couldn't fathom what just happened, But then ultimately, it's who you are, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Then I started coming to terms with what's happened and stuff like that. And now it's kind of like I'm getting my brain scan done tomorrow. I think we're looking at April now. But honestly, back in the gym, fit, training, so ready for any opportunity that comes along. And if nothing big comes, we'll just have what I mentioned earlier, probably 4 or 5 times this year, just to get as many fights in as possible, get that career developed.
And now, did you
say before that he was from Poland?
You originally were born in Poland, right?
Originally from Poland, dude. You're my favorite fighter now.
Yeah.
Hey, Poland's great.
We're big Polish over here.
Right there, man. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not from there. Obviously, I'm American. Just got Polish in me. But when people go the Polak route on me, dude, I take off on it. I don't eat it like that. I'm like, none of that shit.
Why are Polak jokes acceptable? What about some discrimination laws?
We're not doing the Polak shit because
throw them all in, honestly.
Can you put something to bed for me though in my mind? I was told one time that the people got the Polak joke because that they were being invaded and they went to war with sticks and rocks. So that's why they got called stupid. But they didn't have anything else to fight with, so they just fought with what they had. Is that true, or is that just some folklore?
Was that in reference to the Second World War?
I think it was, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
Oh, this is deep now. Well, I know a few stories from my granddad. It's like, not sticks and stones necessarily, but imagine, you're getting invaded by the most evil people, right? Who are going to do some really terrible things to your family if they get their hands on them. Right? And you've got no equipment, you've got no weapons, nothing, right? You've got a forest. You got to make do with the best you can.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you going to do? Give up your children and your wife and your family and stuff? You're going to fight.
I'll tell you how many people I've turned off to that Polak joke from telling them, what would you have done if you have no artillery?
Tell me the Polak joke.
Yeah.
You want to hear a Polak joke?
Yeah, go on, throw it. Okay.
No, they just say if you do something stupid, like if you do something dumb, they'd be like, oh, you're a Polak.
Yeah, Polak's always considered dumb. Yeah.
Have that though.
I probably can tell you a good Polish joke though. I mean, it all started probably with even like the oldest ones from as far back as I can remember. They would say, how many, it was always a reference to Polish people being dumb. It was always a slur with them being dumb. But a popular one back in the day was, how many Polaks does it take to screw in a light bulb? And then the answer would be like 3: 1 to hold the light bulb and 2 to turn the ladder. It would always depict Polish people as doing something dumb,
Yeah, that's interesting, but yeah, I mean, people are so thin-skinned at the moment. You should be careful.
I don't know. All I'm saying is I'm thin-skinned about being called a Polak, and I'm arguing about it. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah, it's a slur just like anything else. But So last night we also saw, I mean, obviously we were at the fights, but we did happen to know that last night, though, there also was, call it what you want, spectacle, boxing match, fight. But we did see Jake Paul again in action. Do you like those gimmick type fights? Do you think they're good for boxing?
I mean, there is different perspectives you can take on stuff like that, right? So on one hand, it's bringing new eyes to the sport, which can only ever be good. Right. On the other hand, I'm not going to slate anybody like Jake Paul or any other YouTuber or anything, because if I could fight my grandma for the money that they're fighting, trust me, I'm fighting her.
Oh, poor granny.
But from a perspective of a professional boxer, somebody, who's dedicated their entire life and compared to those guys is fighting for pennies at a much, much higher level,
Right.
then I can understand why they could be salty about it. And obviously I'm a professional boxer myself, so, but I understand both sides. And like I say, if I could do it, I'd do it. So
Yeah,
well, hey man, one thing I gotta say before we go off any Jake Paul topic is I just saw before we got on this interview that Jake Paul is now the 110th ranked cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was like 1,000 before that fight, and now he's like 100.
Having boxed too. Nobody.
Right, exactly. Having boxed too. Now, and speaking of other guys in the sport, you know, as a fan, you know, like, you know, kind of stepping back and looking at the guys that are currently doing it right now. Are you a fan of any guys, though? Who are some guys that are currently competing that you like to watch?
Do you know, I love Shakur. You mentioned him earlier. Defensive wizard. I mean, some people might find it a bit boring or whatever, but the guy is phenomenal at what he does. You know, people back in the day were slating Mayweather, and look what he's done.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. But I love the Ukrainian Lomachenko. Love his footwork. But the only thing with him is he's so great that it's to his own demise, because he wants to achieve more. He wants to fight bigger people, wants to fight better people. And he kept going up and up in weight, and weight classes are for a reason. You know, you watch that Devin Haney fight, even though a lot of people had Loma winning, it's still a very, very close fight. And you're fighting a guy who's naturally so much bigger. It takes away the little advantages that he had. And
doesn't it show how great he is, though, to even hang in there and get a card go his way?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But wouldn't it be better if he won?
I mean,
you know, I think he would agree with that, too.
To be in there with a 170-pound guy, though, and really be able to hold your own.
Yeah.
Like, what did you guys... I'm not going to give you a name. See if you can guess it. What did you guys think to the greatest professional boxing debut of all times?
The greatest professional boxing debut?
Dude, that's a tough question.
Who's was
only, I mean, it's pretty clear which one. If I give you the name, you'll be like, yes.
Yeah, you better give us the name.
Francis Ngannou.
Oh yes, he did look very good.
You could definitely argue that. You could make that argument.
I mean, there's not many people that are going to put the heavyweight champion of the world on his ass in their first fight, you know?
Even with a loss, Even with a loss. On his debut, getting paid, say, $20 million, fighting the heavyweight world champion and putting him down and going the distance.
Yeah.
Do we gotta say though that the heavyweight champion was grossly out of weight?
Yeah. He didn't look good.
I love the American commentators comparing him to a bag of milk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I also think that there was probably like a little bit of looking past Francis.
Yeah, he wasn't taking it serious.
Yeah, I don't think he took it too seriously. But but with that being said, so now he's slated to fight Anthony Joshua. How do you see that one shaking out? Got a couple of really big guys in there, muscular guys, in shape guys.
Well, you've got two Adonises coming together, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Greek gods.
You've got the hardest recorded punch in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the belief that you cannot walk into an elite sport, to a sport, and take on the elite in your early stages, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
So, if I go and play some tennis, I'm absolutely going to get thrashed in any other sport. But heavyweight boxing is it's like a sport of its own. It's different to boxing because the technical elements are negated by the physical advantages that they have. And obviously, Ngannou, he's 260 pounds or something.
Yeah. And Joshua's got a questionable beard.
He does. Yeah.
But for me, if you get hit clean, it doesn't matter who you are. You're going to sleep. You're going down. Yeah. You just got certain fighters, like Triple G, where you couldn't hit him clean. Even Triple G, you whack him clean, he's going down, but you just can't. The guy's just too clever, and obviously tough.
And you're right. I was gonna say most of the time he's whacking guys and they're going down. He's a big puncher.
I'm expecting AJ to boss it, to go in there with the right mindset. If I'm honest, I've never seen him unprofessional. You can say whatever you want about AJ, about his chin, his mindset at times questionable, but he's always been professional. And I don't think Fury did that in that fight.
Right. Does the boxing world have to rally around the boxer though? Because it doesn't look good. These guys from other sports, these hybrid fights coming into the sport of boxing. It wasn't detrimental to boxing, but it doesn't look good when a novice comes in and puts the heavyweight champ on his ass.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, it's catastrophic.
Luckily, boxing is not defined by a single individual.
Right.
That's the only saving grace, because boxing was the heavyweight division. Boxing's shocking right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
But I will say, if Francis Ngannou wins this fight, he deserves all the gold coming his way. I mean, the guy is incredible anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and I've heard Fury in interviews talking about wanting an Ngannou rematch. So I think his ass is a little chapped about getting knocked. His pride is a little bit hurt, I think. I think he wants to reconcile that even though he won the fight, I think he'd like another crack at him, it sounds like.
I think he is certain in his own head. He knows he lost the fight. And I'm not saying that on the, boxer A, boxer B, he lost the fight. I'm not saying he lost the actual fight, but he's the weight world champion fight in the debutant, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it even going the distance is absolutely shocking for him, let alone having a potentially controversial decision. It's even worse.
Yeah, but you're in the UK though, and it seems like there's still, a big interest, and it would still be a big fight for England though to fill up a big stadium over there and still have Fury and Joshua. It sounds like, and of course you're over there across the pond. Is this a fight that the British fans still want to see?
It's never coming this way. I mean, if you look at the boxing right now, what's coming up, the upcoming events. If Fury beats Usyk, which I think is a big, big ask, by the way, but if he beats Usyk and then AJ beats Ngannou, the world is going to be crying for that fight, AJ versus Fury. It's going to be the greatest fight of our generation. But it will not happen here. If you fill out Wembley Stadium with 100,000 people, it's going to give him a purse a quarter of the size of what they're going to get in Saudi Arabia. It's right here.
Yeah. It seems like the Saudis are taking over boxing. Right. I mean, but they got the money. They've got the money.
The Saudi money has its own.
I mean, there's only two ways to make money in boxing. You either got to fight over in Saudi, or you got to fight on a Jake Paul card.
Now, I want to ask him before he goes, though. One thing we're about to see coming up here down the pike is Catterall Taylor 2.
Oh yeah.
What's your mindset going in? What's your thoughts on that one?
I was literally just watching the fight on the TV before you guys called.
They don't like each other.
They do not. I'm going to say, if I hate sitting on the fence with things, but it all depends on what they've got left in them right now. If Josh Taylor comes the same way when he fought Prograis, let's say, or Ramirez, he comes that determined with that much in his tank, he wins the fight hands down. But if the Josh Taylor comes, let's say, in his last 2 or 3 performances, I think he loses on points.
Yeah.
Catterall's been good.
Yeah, Catterall's he's not elite, but he's very consistent at what he does. Yeah. And if you're not there at the top of your game, he's going to pick you apart, and that's it.
And he's also got a little chip because that was a very polarizing and controversial decision in their first fight. A lot of people thought Catterall won that fight. I gotta
say, a lot of people over here in the United States, and I talk in boxing groups and stuff, they don't even know Catterall and guys like that. They just don't even pay attention or have any
shame.
Of those guys.
I mean, it's called world boxing, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like all the guys.
Yeah. You like him, don't like him, hate him, whatever, right? I'm at least aware of them. But I am a proper boxing fan, so you
Yeah.
know, I try and stay aware of everything. But don't you find that mind blowing that boxing is the only sport you can get a subjective decision? You know, your whole career can be by somebody's decision.
Crazy.
And then you can't appeal it. You can't argue it. You just got to put up and shut up. You know, the Cattrall decision, that could have been life-changing for him. That could have literally, like, changed the course of his entire career.
No
and
doubt.
What, like, you know, it's like my fight the other week. One person made a decision, because we didn't even have judges on that show. Ever since COVID, what they've started doing is having the referee judge the fight.
Oh, okay.
So that's to save money and stuff like that. Obviously, instead of having 4 officials, you have 1. So the referee is judging the fight. So he's having to do two things, and it's like,
you're putting a lot on the guy's plate. You are.
But your life is dependent on that decision.
Sure.
And it can't be questioned. You can't appeal it. You can't do anything. It's crazy.
I know.
I agree, dude.
It's been really enjoyable having you on, though. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this. And I got to ask, because we try to ask everybody that comes on here, man. We'd love to have a good rapport with guys. It's been great talking to you. We would love to have you back on sometime. So please stay in touch.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. It's been lovely talking to you guys. And
and we certainly wish you luck going forward. And, you know, reach out to us on Facebook. You keep us up to speed on what's going on with your career when you got stuff coming up.
Of course.
We'll certainly promote it.
Polak's best.
That's right.
Let's go. It. Make any jokes you want. Polak's best.
Listen, we know as Polish, I'm glad I knew the real heritage, dude. Like, that's the real thing. That's the real shit. We were going to war with what we had because we had to.
People should be putting up on the pedestal as the toughest.
That's pride.
That's it. But look at my nose. 17. It's not the prettiest, but 17 years never been broken.
There you go.
I can't be that dumb.
There you go. Polak's doing something right.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Look good, feel good, talk good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate you doing it, man. It was great talking to you, man. And please, I said,
thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, a lot of fun, champ. Thank you very much. Good talking to you.
Much love,
you.
bro.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care. See you later.
Later, guy. And there he goes, folks. RYSZARD LEWICKI, 6 wins, 0 losses, 2 goddamn draws, which he's not happy about. I'm going to go back and watch this fight. I knew he just fought. Browsed it a little bit, but I'm going to go back and actually score it. He says that it was a horrible decision, which, ding dong, light bulb moment. Wow, really? One of those happened in boxing?
No, he went as far to say on there as he went back and watched it and couldn't find a round to even give the other guy. I know he's himself, but
right, yeah. So that is
not giving him a round is like you were getting the post.
I never even got a chance to ask him about a nickname, man. I'll have to text him and I'll say, hey, RYSZARD, do you happen to have a boxing nickname? Because if not, you may have come to the right place, because we're like a boxing nickname generator, a human version. But that is RYSZARD LEWICKI, man. And
we're like Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, we're kind of like Abbott and Costello. And just for people out there who, who would like to follow him, he is he fights at middleweight. He can make super middleweight. So, 160, 168 pounds, man. Obviously, great guy, man. Went through a lot of hardship, man. Was very candid about speaking about that with his parents, man. Can't even wrap my head around how tragic that would be, man, in such a short time span. So that's a young man that's been through some shit, man. But, he seems like he's persevered, man. And, hey, of course, we said it on here. You can't beat the determination and toughness of the Polish.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah. So that was a fun episode, man. Be sure to like us and follow us on Facebook. And, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, man. That's important. Stay tapped in. You're not getting boxing conversations and guys coming on and
listen, man.
Anywhere else, man. Anywhere else, you're not getting it.
And listen, man, nowhere else also are you getting LeBron James to 40,000, and nowhere else are you getting white LeBron, a.k.a. Baby Busey, telling you that I can go 15 seconds with anything.
Yeah, and make sure to stay tapped in, folks. New content every single week. New content that you don't see anywhere else. This is the place to come for your great shoes off, feet up, informal, fun, yet informative boxing conversations like nobody else is putting up on the internet, man. So stay tapped in, man. And remember, if you want to be a champion, you got to roll with the champ.